Hi, my name is Brenda Reyes Joanne, and this is my presentation on intercultural relationships. We will be going over 4 points. The first point is explain cultural factors that influence the development of ethical relationships in or between cultures. Understanding each other's cultures in a relationship means that there is a respective level of civilization with one another. Each other's lifestyle is known and respected, and the material and spiritual elements are considered. This can be basic building blocks in intercultural relationships. Culture is a set of common values, norms, beliefs, and ideas. The Mexican culture is very collectivistic. The group is valued more rather than oneself. They value family most importantly. A few traits that fall under collectivism that add to the Mexican culture's identity are a value in social network, need for affiliation, and using the indirect communication style. Mexico is also a high context culture. In this culture, rules of communication are primarily transmitted through contextual elements where eye movement, tone of voice, and facial expressions are heavily relied on. These factors influence the development of ethical relationships between one who identifies themselves with the Mexican culture and, say, one who identifies themselves with the American culture, because there has to be a level of respect and empathy. Ethics deals with human behavior. Both parties have to exemplify a decent level of understanding for the relationship to withstand. The American culture is one who can identify themselves with individualism. There is definitely contrast, but that doesn't mean that a healthy ethical relationship cannot arise from two individuals from two different cultures. The uncertainty reduction theory can definitely help when building an ethical relationship in or between cultures, because the primary goal is to reduce uncertainty when they first meet and increasing predictability in the other person's behavior as well as oneself. This will help understanding one another to flourish, to create the ethical relationship. The next point that we will go over is evaluate the different perspectives on ethics of developing, maintaining, or ending relationships in members of different cultural groups. Developing and maintaining relationships of members from different cultural groups go hand in hand. There are a few theories that can be used and practiced when developing and maintaining relationships. Like mentioned already, the uncertainty reduction theory. Another theory is the anxiety uncertainty management theory. This theory explains the interrelationships among uncertainty, anxiety, mindfulness, and communication effectiveness. One theory reduces anxiety, whereas the other theory manages it. Ethics deals with behavior. When one has themselves under control, they are able to understand the other individual better as there is more clarity. Empathy is a characteristic that is of utmost importance, as it is when one is able to put themselves in somebody else's shoes. In other words, truly have an understanding in another's thoughts and feelings. Empathy goes hand in hand with reducing uncertainty, because it is natural for people who come from different cultures to have different ideas and styles of communication. Due to this, relational empathy is the goal to be reached. This is when a third culture is created with interdependent meaning, worldview, and a reality through communication of two different cultures. So empathy and similarity are of utmost importance in maintaining relationships. So in order to maintain a cross-cultural relationship, one should be able to exemplify a few strategies for mutual understanding. A few strategies are listening, effective communication, respecting differences, and no judgment, as well as avoiding ambiguity. Ending a relationship between members of different cultural groups can be due to many things. So conflict management differences can cause relationships to end as there is no understanding. In regards to marriages, reasons why there is why there is a dissolution of marriage across cultures can be due to social and economic issues. A few examples include income, sexual dissatisfaction, childlessness, women's equality issues, and religion. Across cultures, though, individualism and collectivism can be taken into consideration because those who identify themselves as individualistic can be okay with the idea of divorce and have a rather passive attitude, whereas one who is a collectivistic or identify themselves as collectivistic may not be okay with the idea of divorce because they have their values. The next point that we will go over is explain how differing cultural values and norms may influence conflict styles. Cultural values and norms may influence conflict styles via cultural value dimensions and emotional intelligence. Preferences for conflict handling styles is largely predetermined by individual characteristics and personality traits, as well as demographic characteristics. Emotional intelligence is when one is able to recognize, use, and regulate emotions. One is able to consider face, self-face, other face, mutual face, face work, avoiding face work, and integrating face work to influence their cultural styles of choice. Face explains how people from different cultures manage conflict. Face work refers to the communication strategies that are used to manage one's own face or support or challenge someone else's face. Face work correlates with initiating, managing, and terminating conflict. This coincides with interdependence and how serious the conflict is taken. Taking conflict personally predicts motivation to improve conflict management behaviors. The fourth point that we will go over is giving specific illustrations that show different conflict styles of people from different cultures. So the different intercultural conflict styles range in directness and indirectness and emotional expression or emotional restraint. The four styles are discussion, engagement, accommodation, and dynamic. To illustrate discussion, this is when one uses precise language and is very straightforward about the disagreement, while restraining on demonstrating emotions. A person who exemplifies this conflict style is calm and collected emotionally. Engagement is when one is direct and emotional. So they are confrontational about the disagreement and also demonstrate their emotions. Accommodation is when a person is indirect about the disagreement and show no emotion. This person hints that there is a conflict and may even believe that showing emotions is a negative thing. They may even think that it's dangerous. The dynamic style is expressed when one is indirect about the disagreement, but is emotionally expressive. There is a lot of emotions that are expressed, but in regards to the disagreement, the person may exaggerate or repeat certain messages to be indirect. Thank you.